Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Rityama Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Rityama Amritam Gamaya. Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to the light, from the earth to the open skies. Lead me from death to eternal life. Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to the light, from the earth to the open skies. Lead me from death to eternal life. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to the light, from the earth to the open skies. Lead me from death to eternal life. Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to the light, from the earth to the open skies. Lead me from death to eternal life.
Just waiting for people to get connected. We'll start shortly. Allison Reed, hello. Great to see you, Allison Reed. Hope you're well. Having a nice weekend. Aline, hello. Hope you're doing well. Great to be here. Live streaming from Bearsville and Woodstock, New York. Already dark here. But we have the light within our soul, don't we all? I think we're almost ready. We'll get started shortly. Oh wow, still awake in the UK. Wow, Jane. It must be, let's see, what time is it there? It's 1 a.m., isn't it? Sveta, hello. Great to see you. Alrighty, so I think we'll get started when we turn the music on. So it's really a pleasure to be here live streaming again. I'm in a part of the house where I think I have some peace. My mom is a Doberman, so if you hear any loud barking, don't be alarmed or anything. It's just our Luba. So no worries to that. Let me give him a few more shout outs. Karen, hello. Most welcome. So this evening I wanted to honor and give my respects to a wonderful, beautiful woman, Mavis Pittilla, and my mentor for the past 2.5 years, I would say. She has meant the world to me. Such a wonderful person, and with her partner Jean, They really transformed and really opened out my outlook to the world and to the spirit world. So they both mean a lot to me. And, while it might be, a sad thing to know that, Mavis has transitioned, it's very important to also understand that those that have transitioned or passed, they're really not gone. They're still with us. And, I'll have thoughts or, whatever questions throughout the day, and I'll be able to, hear their responses, and I'll be, and Mavis would always, she was full of love, right? But she also was really strict. She wanted us to perform, correctly to her standards, it's those phrases that I can still hear echoing in my mind. So, it's, and one thing that, and she might be here right now because I always hear her saying, like, send out that love to the spirit world, that, that they are here, they're among us. So that was always something really beautiful about her, something really, really lovely. So let me give a few more shout outs and we'll get started with the service. Shelly, hello. Lana, hello. Karen, hello. Tommy, hello. So, Edu Leon, hello. So, like I was saying, that, she was really this beautiful, wonderful, powerful woman, and she was a beacon of light for so many. I can't even count, how many mediums she's trained throughout the years, how many, lives that she may have helped. And it's really an amazing, beautiful thing to think, that, while she may be teaching us her method, right? And she may be healing all those people, I'm passing that on to everyone here who you guys may be passing on into the future as well. So it's a really beautiful thing to know that, her knowledge and the knowledge that she has for the spirit world is passing through us and going, into the ages, say, that it's not lost, it's here, it's echoing, it's getting stronger. So it's a wonderful thing. Dawn, hello. Mary, hello. So I'm not at my office, obviously, so I'm lacking some of the equipment that I usually do a live stream with. I wanted to play video and music. I don't really have the ability to go too far into that, but I would do my best to, provide the best service that I can. And I'm going to do my best to make Mavis proud. And I'm sure I'm going to be hearing her voice echoing in my ear, giving her lessons to me. So, I send my love to her. And I acknowledge that, she is still here. She's among us. And, as I said before, that's true among anyone that's passed or anyone that may have, transitioned to the spirit world. Claire, hello. Claire is one of the students that was in our class, so it's nice to see you. And, we send our love to Mavis, a beautiful, beautiful, powerful, wonderful woman that, will always be with us. All right, so we'll get started. And just take a deep breath in. So I'm going to explain a little bit before I get started about, what we're going to experience this evening. We're going to start with the opening prayer. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Mavis. I already did that a little bit, so, but I'll continue. I'm going to read some of her favorite poetry, and then I'm going to go into mediumship, and I'm going to do my very best to provide it in a way that, she would be proud of. So hopefully that comes through clearly. As always, I send my love and my gratitude to the spirit world and to all of you as well. So I'm going to start with the opening prayer. I'm going to take a deep breath in. And if you could calm your minds. As we gather here this evening, we give our thanks for the community of souls who make this reunion a reality. We give our thanks that life and love continue, and we are thankful for all of the blessings we've received, are receiving, and will receive. We are thankful for all the love that those in spirit have shown us and continue to show us. Amen. So, going on a little bit about Mavis, she was just, oh, she meant the world to me. And honestly, anyone that met her, she had this presence where you would just feel that love from her, even though she may be a little intimidating as a teacher from time to time, but that love was always there, and that love was always fundamental. And a lot of what, she taught us, and, I joined her mentorship, just as the pandemic started. So it was, a really interesting time in our world history, right? And a lot of what was going on throughout the mentorship, focused on, the world events. We had mentorship part 1 and part 2. We just finished part 2 right before she transitioned. But a lot of it was to be thankful, okay? To be thankful of your blessings, to be thankful of, the experience that we're having, to be thankful for every moment around us, to be thankful and to send our love into spirit and to love those in spirit, not be demanding or yelling at spirit, but she always made a point to treat them as you would treat, your mother or your father or family, right? That, you would be having a conversation with them, as if they were part of your family, even though you may not, exactly know the spirit per se, but, in essence, they're all part of our family. And that was a lot that she drove home through us, is to, not be demanding about them, not like trying to immediately talk about their death or such, but to get to know them, to love them, to understand them, to, bring forth, those messages that those in spirit, that are still loved by us, that, we still respect, who they are fundamentally as people, even though they are spirit people. So, that was a lot of what she would be teaching us. We could probably go on for weeks and months about her lessons, and I'm just giving you just a little summary of, what, really stood out to me. And, a lot of, inspiration that, she would talk about. She had this particular phrase that I absolutely adored. She called it Droplets of God. Okay. And what a beautiful thing that is to imagine, like, for example, when, one or two of us would need, something from a doctor or a family member was in a hospital, she would kind of ask the group that, these droplets of God, inspire the doctors, and to, perhaps look elsewhere where they haven't looked before, or, to kind of give that divine inspiration to, those that needed it, that could help us here in this reality, right? So, beautiful phrase, Droplets of God. If anyone here hasn't read her book yet, and that is the title, I would suggest that you highly do so. It's a really beautiful work, and I absolutely highly recommend it. It's actually reading her book that got me into contacting her and joining her program. So, beautiful work. Just move on here now. I'm going to share with you some of her, poetry. She hasn't written it, but, this is poetry that, she would keep sending to us, or, it was very prevalent in the group. So I'm going to go into a poem, afterwards mediumship, and we're going to finish with another poem, okay? And I think that, I put the order in a sense that would make sense to this. So the poem now is called In Golden Stardust. Okay, and that's by Carl Knepler. You stepped softly into my heart with no great fanfare, but a gentle whisper. And from those early moments, I soon knew you were the one whose name was written, besides my own, before the dawn of time. I stepped softly into my soul, and out spirits meld as two intended, to become one, a chapter of a book of souls, now ready for its earthly penning. You stepped softly into my life, and now nothing is the same, for we are united by the bond once scripted by angels in golden stardust in the heavens. Now, isn't that beautiful? So, it's at this point where I'm going to go into a motivational speech. It's not scripted. I have a little outline in front of me, but nothing about the speech. So the idea from a motivational speech is that, it's a form of mediumship. It's a way for your soul to speak out, to have spirit speaking through your soul to motivate those around us, okay? And the topic that comes to mind this evening for me is the light of our soul, okay? Right, and now, I will feel that download. I will feel that streaming from the spirit world, okay? So, what a beautiful thing it is for us all to gather here this evening. As I see all of you this evening as beacons of light, as lighthouses upon an ocean of eternity, all standing out with your beautiful beacons of light. We're all here. At times we may feel that solitude. We may feel that we are alone. But we are never alone. For we are all beacons. You just need to open your heart, to open your mind, and you need to send out that love into that universe and connect our beautiful beacons, our light of our soul, to each other. To never forget that indeed we are all connected, that we are all beautiful souls, that we are all these droplets from God, that we are all part of the divine. So never fret, never feel alone, never feel that you're forgotten. For the light of your soul shines brightly, and we can all see it, and we can all be united together in this beautiful light, of our souls. So share this light with all those around you. Share this divine inspiration. Let your heart and soul sing. Let it inspire those around you. Whatever that inspiration is, whatever you can do to pass that torch, to pass that beautiful light to the person around you, to make their bright just a little bit brighter, to make them smile, to give them a little bit of joy, to spread that beautiful beacon of light that you are, the light of your soul. Let it inspire those around you. Let it spread happiness. Most importantly, release it. Don't keep it bottled up. Release that beautiful light to those around you. That love that's in your heart. Don't hold on to it. Don't try to capture it. Don't try to keep it bottled up. release it. Let it fly free. Let that beacon grow ever brighter so that you may inspire those around you. I thank you. Oh wow, Allison Reed. Oh, you saw an orb behind me? It's very, very, very possible. If you do see anything behind me this evening, just indicate in the chat. That would be amazing. And that's actually not the first time I've captured these sort of things. Oftentimes when, I've done readings in the past, you'll actually see like a little ball of light go like maybe into the side of my head or something like that, and I'll move. So it's definitely not uncommon. So I hope that everyone enjoyed that inspirational talk. And I hope, Mavis, that I made you proud by that. And I was saying before I did go into the motivational speech that, it's a talk from the soul. It's a talk from the divine, okay? All right. So now we're going to go into the mediumship part of the evening, okay? Go over a few little ground rules here. Don't make any of the information fit. If I say someone is a mother and it sounds like a great grandmother to you, it's not a perfect fit there. So don't make it fit. Be honest. If the information does resonate with you, you want at least 90% of that to be correct. Otherwise, it might likely be for someone else. So definitely make sure that you're honest and not trying to make any of the information fit. And if we do connect and I do work with you, yeses and nos, don't give too much information. And the kind of information that, will come to me will be, I may see memories, I may have feelings and sensations, I may have smells of what's cooking in the kitchen. This sort of thing is very, very likely to happen, okay? And the reason that, we get these kind of sensations and feelings is because it actually has, a specific memory that it's going to trigger for you. So you're going to have this aha moment, like, oh my God, I remember that afternoon when, my mother made this, and that, and my father was sitting in the corner. So, it's this kind of, evidence. We say that this evidential mediumship to provide, to provide proof that, life after death continues. Okay. All right. So, and, those of you that may have experienced, spiritual services before, you might think, okay, yeah, it's not as polished as it could be. I'm only one person, so I'm trying my best to explain it as we're going. Normally this is done with a group of people, so if anyone's, and I think many of you have seen the events that we've done in the past, you'll remember that it's usually 4 people working together. So apologies if anything seems a little unpolished, So as I bring my attention to the spirit world and I'm blending with them, I'm immediately drawn to the presence of a beautiful, feisty grandmother. Okay, so let me give you a description of her. You would recognize her to be on the shorter side. Okay, you were definitely taller than your grandmother. You would remember that she had curly hair. You remember giving her a hug, but giving her a hug like you were kind of like, I would say, like, it almost felt like she may have been like the child in a way, right? You would remember that this like this sensation that this softness, like the she would have particularly soft type of clothing, sweaters, this sort of thing. Um, you would also remember her to be fairly stern. Okay, so but also at the same time a joker. So there was this distinction between you and her where you were like, is she upset or is she joking with me this time? Like, oh no, she's upset. She's going for that cooking spoon. So, like, there was this sort of interplay, sort of this, like, almost this bipolar esque about her. Um, and from what I'm hearing, I hear her say, to keep you on your toes. Okay, so this beautiful woman was, very much a jokester, but also at the same time really focused on, kind of like bringing you up in a way, to bring you up, to teach you to, also to be strict with you in certain things when she was meant to be strict with you, right? So if there was a lesson to be learned, you would recognize that, she did not hesitate. She absolutely did not hesitate. She would tell it like it is, and if that meant that it was on the backside of a wooden cooking spoon, then so be it. She was going to tell it to you the way that she thought it. You would recognize that, this being your grandmother, okay? And you would also recognize that, and you would understand that, like she had very, let me say, common, like she was not of wealth, right? So she made to do with everything that she could. She was a woman that, if she was to buy something, it was made to last, and you would recognize that about her, that she was frugal, that she valued, the items that maybe she bought. She took care of her things. If she bought something, it was made to last. Okay. So as I'm blending and going deeper with her, specific types, and I'm starting to see a scene now of, going into the kitchen now. I'm seeing and smelling, a roast. I'm seeing it looks, it's a bird, it's a chicken, it's possibly something along those lines. And there's Mavis right now telling me, you said possibly don't do that. That it is. Oh my. So you would recognize and you would remember going to her house, and having these beautiful evenings together. Okay. That, it was, very much a family event. You would recognize that her husband, grandfather, passed much earlier than her, and that you don't particularly have many memories of him, is what she's telling me, okay? If anyone recognizes this beautiful one, please indicate, and, I will work with you. In the meantime, I'm going to keep going with the information that she's providing me, okay? So now she's telling me, and I'm starting to see the information, that she is ultimately very proud of you, but there was a disagreement. Like, she wasn't ultimately happy with the direction that you were going in your life, that she wanted, something more for you, something better. But ultimately, like, it wasn't what you were focused on. It wasn't, what was in your heart to move forward with in your life. So there were some disagreements with that. She's showing me disagreements with, the person that, you fell in love with, that, that she was always very strict about this, that she was always trying to take care of you, being overprotective in this way. Okay. And for this, she's also giving me the information and to tell me that, she didn't mean to push you away in her later years. Okay. That, it wasn't her intention to push you away by telling you these things. That it was her intention ultimately to, guide you to a better path, to, not make the same mistakes that, she made, or that, she thought that you would be making. Okay. So she really does regret that, that the conflict, came in towards the end there. And she came across, as bitter because of it. But she's telling me that it ultimately came from a place of love. Okay. So, recognize that, maybe this was misinterpreted by you, that ultimately that it did come from a place of love from her. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that. If you are in the chat and you didn't want to step forward, you may send me a message, and, I'll go a little further if I can. I'm going to send her my love, and we're going to move on to the next in line. Ultimately, there would be like a gathering around us with a lot of souls waiting to speak. And as I say that, my attention is being drawn actually to a little boy now. Okay. And I feel like a little tug on my pants that, hey, I'm here too, talk to me as well. And you would recognize him to be, kind of like a dirty blonde with hazel eyes. Okay. And this is a young boy that, unfortunately succumbed to illness. And you would recognize, that you are in fact the mother. Okay. That, that this boy being your son, your light, your reason for waking up every day, that, he understands and he recognizes, the kind of pain and suffering that, happened in the family, that, that he tells me that he has heard you crying at night, crying for him, over him, about the illness, that, it's not your fault, that it's okay, that, you still see him holding this little teddy bear. I feel like this is an heirloom item, that this may have been that this is passed down throughout the family. Okay. That, it didn't belong to him. It belonged to you. So you've passed down this stuffed animal to him. And it was ultimately in his bed, his place, his crib, that, that he held it dearly, that, it was always kind of with him, and it wasn't in the best condition, but, he loved it none the same. He also shows me, images of, a kind of a tube in his nose, tape, hospital bed. I see bandages around as well. That he wants you to know that you've given him the best moments of his life. That, while the time together was short, to him it meant the world. And a specific memory that, you would understand. You were treating him. There was an amusement park, a fair. I'm seeing rides. I'm seeing candy, and a specific, pink cotton candy, that a type of food that he wasn't allowed to have, due to, conditions and whatnot. But like, he wanted it so badly. You wanted it to treat him, and you ultimately did buy this for him. You did buy this treat for him, and the joy in his eyes when you're singing, where you would recognize and you would see that, his fingers turning pink from the candy, it's sticking everywhere. But, him having this joy, this blast of a time, just running around, getting hyper with this candy, and really, truly enjoying the moment with you. Nothing else mattered at this moment. Nothing else mattered. It was a moment of pure joy and happiness that you would understand and recognize. He also sends, a message that and if you're still, yes, okay, to tell the Father, to ease up on that drink, okay? Because as I'm going forward and asking, what message he'd like to move forward with, he ultimately is concerned about the health of the people here, okay? So one of the images that he just showed me is, like a shot glass going up, that there is too much drinking going on, and he feels, a little guilty about that because that started as a coping mechanism for what happened to him, okay? He would very much like you to see that stopped, okay? So, if you could let the Father know to kind of pull that back a little bit, that, that he is well, he's at peace, everything is right, and that he still is around, okay? To not feel that guilt, to not feel, that depression, that self-pity, those negative emotions that come with this sort of abrupt passing. He understands it, but he also ultimately wants to lift you up, okay? And as I'm saying like that he wants to see you be lifted up, that he wants to see better things for you and him, you would remember and recognize that recently you did see a dragonfly, okay? And at that moment, you were questioning whether or not this was a sign, and this was a sign, okay? As is the 333 on your clock, okay? So he's around, he's sending signs and symbols to you. The stuffed animal that you do have in your possession still, you find that it moves from time to time, or you may see it in a different position that you don't recognize, okay? And this is also a sign from him, that he's still there, still loves you, and he's still with you today, okay? So I'm going to leave you with that love. And I understand, this is very sensitive and you might not want to comment publicly, but if you want to send me a message and confirm any validations, that's very much appreciated. And that goes with anyone here. If I do connect with you and you don't want to chat publicly, absolutely okay. I'm going to deliver their messages as they intended, and if you want to send me a private message to acknowledge it, that's absolutely fine. Okay, as I draw my attention to the spirit world and blend with them, I'm immediately drawn to a husband that has passed. Okay, this is a rugged man. This is a man that he looked very much forward to going out and mowing the grass, taking care of the land or whatever that needed to be taken care of. His appearance, a little rough. He didn't shave every day. Probably didn't like doing it. He definitely didn't like doing that. He had a scruffy appearance and he didn't mind. He's not minding telling me that either. Okay, and he would have a little bit of a mustache there as well. He did not take care of his physical appearance that much. Okay, you would recognize and remember that most of the time he would be in work clothes, that you would see him outside working a lot, okay, repairing things, working, always outside working. He also had a workshop where he would be doing a lot of the woodworking or repairing. I'm seeing a lot of fences. So this gives me the impression that your husband worked on land, that it was a rural area and it was a farm, okay? So for his work, he would be doing a lot of this throughout the day, throughout the evening, and there was a little. He tells me that there's frustration that that he did too much of it. That he wanted to that you didn't feel that he spent enough time with you. That you felt alone a lot. And for that he wants to acknowledge, and it's ultimately now that he's telling me that he wanted to be with you more, that he sees the value in that, and ultimately apologizing for not being there all the time. Okay. And this is also where he's telling me that he was absent from being around the house too, that while he would take care of everything outside, he didn't really want to be bothered with the day-to-day on the inside, the clearing of the plates, the dishes, the cooking or whatnot. Okay. That he felt that he did his work, and his work was outside, and he's not afraid to tell anyone that either. You would recognize that he wouldn't mind having a cold beer even on a cold day outside. Okay, that he was very much in his element. And this was true also among his friends as well, that his friends, that they were also very similar types, sort of like these rough type characters, loving but also very strong, and they, I won't say that he completely loved you, but he may not have shown it as well as he could have, or as well as he wanted to. Okay, that it wasn't completely in his demeanor to do so. You would recognize and remember as well, red tractor that didn't work. Okay, that wouldn't stop him from tinkering on it. Okay, so you would hear bangs and clangs, and it was him in the shed trying to get this thing working that just never did. All right, let me see if everything's working here on my end. I think my chat might be slightly delayed or frozen, but no worries, we shall continue. He's telling me also that he has this jacket in a closet in the house adjacent to the entrance, okay, that you would recognize as still being there, okay, and that whenever you leave the house to put your clothing on, that you look at this jacket and you have this sense of loneliness, that oh yes, that's right. He very much would like you to put that away, to put those things away that remind you of him, because he doesn't want to see you down. He doesn't want to see you starting your day off on the right foot, seeing his jacket and then feeling, that sort of depression, or that, that it would drain your energy, okay? It would put you down for the day kind of thing. So he very much wants, the best for you, and he really encourages you to take these things, and you may keep them, of course, but to take them and to put them out of everyday sight, so that you can continue living, that you can continue going on for the family and for the 3 kids. Okay, so please take this information to heart, that he's still there, he still cares, and he still loves you, but he doesn't want to see you depressed by things that are his that might be still laying around. Okay. I send my love to him, and I'll wish him well for you. if anyone's sending me direct messages to my Facebook chat, I'm not looking at it at the moment. I'm looking at the chat for the live stream. So if you are sending a private message, I'm not checking that right now. It's one of the disadvantages of doing this by myself right now. Next time I'll have a team. All right, so as we continue, I'm seeing I'm blending with an elderly man now. Okay. You recognize that he was tall. He was, in his later days, he had the partial, like, slouch to him, kind of like a hunchback sort of thing, that he did need assistance in walking, that he did have a cane, okay? You would remember his hair to be receding and to be white and thinning. So, his hairline, we would be going back here. I had some hair in the middle that was white, okay? And you would remember him mostly in his later days, is what he's telling me. But specifically, you do remember the cane, and you do have memories of fetching it for him. That, he would ask you for assistance in getting up. You remember, like, pulling his arm and it being really heavy, and then you giving the cane over to him. You would also remember and recognize that, while you do have the memories of him being this old, that that he was a serviceman, that he did serve. And I'm getting World War II veteran from him, okay? That he was in service during World War II, and he's telling me Army, and I'm hearing France, okay? So you would recognize and understand that he was actually deployed in battlefields of France during World War II, okay? That's where he's telling me that he took a hit to the leg that ultimately gave him those mobility issues, okay? That he had an injury, that would that actually acted up, more and more so as he aged, okay? So I feel myself now like rubbing the area that's sort of like 5 inches above my knee in the thigh, that, to me right now is actually aching a lot. So you would recognize that it was in his right leg, okay? And yeah, you also understand that, he did have some decorations that I do see, medals. I do see him being proud of those as well, being proud of, serving and doing the work that, ultimately he was called to do. Okay. I'm also, he's telling me that, it was not his choice. It was not something that he signed up for. It was something that he was drafted to do so. But, while I'm here, it scared, the it out of me that, he did it without, being questioned, that he was there to answer that call. Okay. And I keep hearing him say from Philadelphia. Okay. So you would recognize as him living at that time in Philadelphia and being sent overseas to that war. Okay. And he does very much appreciate, all the times that you definitely helped him with the cane, with those mobility issues in that right thigh. He does recognize and appreciate that, he really is ultimately very, very proud of you. And he tells me that he remembered holding you as you were an infant and just being overwhelmed with love and joy. He tells me he couldn't do much with you due to, the issues that he did have and whatnot, but he wanted to do more. and he always wanted to do more, and that you were always his little girl, okay? That he, he's showing me these images of just like looking into your eyes, just like it's this gaze that you get, like of pure adoration, of pure love, of pure, just like this, the ultimate form of love is what I'm seeing from your grandfather. That, he's also a bit of a jokester, okay? That he ultimately shows me, like this type of candy that he would do like a little trick with and want you to guess which hand it was in. You'd recognize this to be one of these candies. These are like a type of candy, had like a gel center. It had a red color, it was strawberry, telling me strawberry, like a strawberry candy. And you would recognize this to be from in the 70s or something, 70s, 70, 72? You're saying 72? That, always remember that day, he says. Always remember that day, that fall day, where the rest of the family was in the house, but he went out with you, and you two were playing in the leaves. Okay? That you just remember like throwing up these leaves, and the grandfather being there and throwing you into a pile of leaves, and just enjoying a beautiful, like warm fall day together. That this was a special memory that you had just with your grandfather. And he's coming forward to tell me that, it's one of the best moments of his life, to see that joy in your face, to experience that with you. And ultimately, that he's still here guiding you, okay? That he still wants the best for you. And he says, don't smoke too much, okay? He's not saying don't smoke, but he's saying don't smoke too much, okay? So you would understand that might want to cut back a little bit, might want to listen to Grandpa here, okay? Excuse me, but he does come forward very frank. He's, don't F with that shit, is what he's saying. So listen to him. You might feel a nudge on your shoulder, is what he's telling me. When you do light up, that, he's kind of like flicking you like, hey, knock it off, don't do that. What a beautiful, lovely man. So I'm going to send my love to him and thank him for coming. Oh, Jennifer Ring, hello. Great to see you. All right, one more sip and do one more contact. And after the live stream, I will check my private messages to see your validations. Apologies that I can't do it well in my current setup. The system I have in my normal office, I have two computers next to each other, so I do have both open. But this time, it's just me looking at myself, really. Doing the best I can. All right. So immediately as I blend with the spirit, when I open myself up, I'm seeing a man. You would recognize this man to be on the heavier side, more of a round type face, partially blonde. Partially balding. Yes, balding. And yeah, okay. That he is indeed your father, okay? That you would recognize him to be your father, that you would remember him also, wearing, specific suits, you would remember him going to work. And you would remember him going to work in a red car, okay? You would also remember that he didn't need glasses for driving or sight, but he needed reading glasses, okay? So if you were to come up to him and show him your homework or any papers or whatnot, like he would ask you to get his glasses. He couldn't read it. He couldn't see it. That, the type of relationship here is also, he did come home well, of course he did. He came home every evening. You would recognize that as he did so, very tired from working throughout the day, he would sit down in a chair. He would be watching TV. He would be doing that while playing with you. And this is ultimately where you were like so excited, daddy's home, you get your toys out, you're playing there in front of him while he's watching TV, you're showing, Barbie to him, you're showing him drawings or whatnot that you have created. And he's also showing me that, this is a specific moment that both of you had together that you would recognize while mom was in the kitchen, preparing dinner. And you would have specific, like his favorite food would be meatloaf. You would recognize that his favorite food was meatloaf. He was a very meat and potatoes kind of guy. Didn't care for his vegetables at all, okay? Even though you were made to eat yours, he's saying. That, that his favorite food was meatloaf. That ultimately you would recognize, them being very loving together, but also him being, also this like sort of like separation. It was just exhaustion on his part from work and him coming home, okay? He also wants to tell to you that, even though, he was acknowledging you as you were playing in front of the TV, that he wished that he was doing more, that he would have paid more attention to you, that he would have played more with you, okay? So I'm getting a little bit of an apology from him on that part, that, he recognizes that he could have done more, that he could have been there a little bit longer. He could have paid a little bit more attention to you and been more interested in the things that you were doing, okay? That, I'm getting also a sense that, the moments that he did were really, really special. That like, oh my God, like I got my dad's full attention. It almost made you feel uneasy, okay? All right, so I'm seeing some messages come up, but they look hidden to me. I will definitely check those later. It looks like I think we're connected with somebody, but it's okay. It's fine to send me a private message. I completely understand. As I'm getting more information from him, you would recognize and remember that he had heart issues. He had issues with cholesterol. And ultimately, what did take his life was this heart issue that he had. And it feels like this type of congested heart failure or a combination of heart attack, okay? So and fluid buildup, I'm feeling like very hard. And like right now, it's like I'm physically hard for me to breathe as well. Like I'm feeling this incredible pressure. Okay, it looks like we did connect with someone in the chat. Although I don't see your name, you just come across as viewer. Okay, so you do confirm that was your dad, that he didn't take his pills, and that it was a heart attack. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you for those validations. So yeah, incredible heaviness. Okay, incredible heaviness. So you would remember this. You would absolutely remember like the difficulty he had breathing. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna tell him to ease up on that because like it's really making me like short of breath. Okay. Ultimately, he wants me to tell you that okay, yes, that you do have a watch from him. That you do have this item in your possession. That it is with you. Okay. Um, it is. See if I can describe this correctly to you. Um, it is. It's like silver or steel in coloration. It's not absolutely spotless or clean by any means. Um, it it does have what looks like radium dials, where like it has like some glow in the dark touching to it. Okay. Okay, so you do resonate with that, and you do resonate with the description of that watch completely. Okay, beautiful. I don't see your name, but I'm glad that we've connected with you. Okay, that you do feel his presence quite often. That you do feel him around. That you do feel him certain moments of the day. And like he's still impressing on me that like say like how difficult it was, kind of being in his shoes. Okay, that he wants you to know that it was difficult to be who he was with the conditions that he did have. And he does come across very powerful to me, and this the impressions are really strong with him, that he's saying that ultimately he had wished that he did eat his vegetables, that he would have been there longer for you. Okay, that it was ultimately his dietary choices and his choice that ultimately led to like an escalation or exacerbation of like these issues that he had. Okay, that he never meant it to hurt you. Okay, you know these were foods, these were things that made him happy in that moment. Okay, that upon him reflecting back upon his life now and reflecting back upon the kind of sadness that happened in the family after his passing, he he tells me that he really wished that he would have taken better care of himself, that he would have listened is what I'm hearing. That there was a lecture, there was something, that some intervention, someone that you were trying to do, that you were trying to get your dad to be a little more health conscious. Okay, that you wanted him to be healthy, that you wanted him to do this, but like he refused it. Like he ultimately just you know threw his hands up, and he's like, I'm not eating that, I'm not doing that. And wow, beautiful, that resonates with you also. Beautiful. You told him to go to the doctor a lot, you checked on him weekly. Beautiful. He just didn't listen. Just didn't listen, and he's acknowledging that. And I'm hearing also, like in my ear, like, do not feel guilty. You did more than you should have. Okay. And I'm hearing from him that I was stubborn. Is ultimately like the sound that I'm hearing in my ear. I was very stubborn, and that he didn't mean to hurt you by being stubborn. Is ultimately the message I'm getting from him. Okay. So I'm gonna ask him now for a message for you. Okay. So as I do so, you would understand. Do not be as stubborn as I was. That you may have a propensity to have kind of this headstrong behavior as well. And he's saying, don't do it. Don't go down that road. Don't be stubborn like me. Okay? That you do have that same attitude that he has. Okay? And he's saying it only gets worse with time. And he's like chuckling about it, all right? So if you find yourself in a position, he's telling me, where people are telling you advice, take it. Take it to heart. All right. And he's doing this like chuckling, I would almost describe it as it's like Santa laugh, the way that he, like this wholehearted laugh that he has. But it also makes me like out of breath. Like, so you'd be laughing and then like it had to catch his breath. But he ultimately absolutely adores you. Okay. And he doesn't want to see that headstrong behavior that, he passed on to you, like be a detriment to you. That is his laugh. Beautiful. What a wonderful man. Like beautiful energy. The love that's coming through from him is absolutely beautiful and wonderful. And I'm sending that back to him as well. That he just makes me laugh, but he also makes me out of breath at the same time. And you would understand that. Oh my goodness. So please take that to heart. Don't be so headstrong that you ignore other people's advice, okay? That, he ultimately wants you to take better care of yourself as well. Okay? So I'm gonna send him my love, and he sends his love to you as well. Okay? And he also wants to tell you that, he's there, he hears you. Okay? So you want to talk to him, like, speak your mind is what I'm like, or spit it out, like kind of like get it out of you, like is what I'm hearing from him. So whatever you have to say to him, just say it. He's a man that like doesn't beat around the bush. All right, so feel free to talk to him. He said that he will listen. Okay. All right, so much love. All right. So it was an absolute pleasure to bring forth your contacts this evening, and I'm honored, and I hope I did Mavis proud with those contacts. I do hear her in my ear saying, no, possibly is it. It is a matter of fact. We're talking to spirit people here that, there's no question about the information. Okay. So I still need to work on that a little bit, Mavis. I do apologize. All right. So we're gonna start to bring our service to an end. I'm gonna read another poem, and then we'll do our closing prayer. Okay. And this is a poem that, she brought to us, towards the end of the last mentorship. And it's called The Man in the Glass. All right. When you get to what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or your mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please. Never mind all the rest, for he's with you, clear to the end, and you've passed your most difficult, dangerous test, if the man in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be the heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. So always remember to be true to yourself. So Now we do our closing prayer. Now, as we come to an end of this evening, in the precious time that we've shared together in this reunion of love that never ends, let us go forward in the knowledge that we are surrounded by your care. May we all in the week ahead dwell in the bliss and find peace in our lives. Amen. So thank you everyone for joining this evening. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm very honored and pleasured to bring forth the contacts. And I will be checking my private messages for those that didn't want to come forward publicly. So much love to everyone. I hope to have more of these. If you're interested in more of these type of sessions, let me know. And it'll be my honor to bring forward, these type of spiritual sessions, okay? So love you all. Hope to see you all soon. I know events haven't been as frequent as I'd like them to be. I'll be going home to Puerto Vallarta the 27th of this month. So at that time, there'll be events that will happen more often, okay? So much love to everyone. Hope you have a wonderful, blessed holiday weekend. And I'll see you all really soon. All right? Much love. Take care, everyone.